This is episode 32 of What's Been Better. Has anyone else noticed how wild the news is these days? It's all gone a bit too far. It's time for a serious reckoning. To all those with sensitive ears, we cuss for emphasis, not harm.
I've watched the news. I shouldn't even say that. I don't watch the news. I hear about the news. I don't watch it. I hear about it.
Okay, let's start with that. Okay, wait. That's going to be my first question, but we're going to come back to that.
Okay.
Hey, Lori.
Sylvia.
You all right?
Yeah, honey. It feels like I've been drinking, but I haven't.
It's
I had
because
some water.
it's because it's
not no drink
Thursday
for real.
and we're together. That's what
I've
it
been
is.
missing you, Sylvia.
I've been working. And
I
if you
could
watch that
tell.
video that I posted today, I've been out back in a shameful position. Okay, we might have to just skip what's been better for a second. For everybody this is going to be way past time when this comes out, but we were digging the trench because the garden was flooding and we didn't get finished and Drew had to go back to work. So I was left to my own devices.
Oh boy.
And I got frustrated.
Okay.
And instead of me just taking a breather and like resting, I just said, fuck this shit and went in the house. And when I said fuck this shit and went in the house, I mean, like, I left everything where it was. We didn't finish anything. And so then it rained. And now that hole is full of water. And we basically need to like start from the beginning because because there's nowhere to put the water. Like we had not connected it to the original drain. So it's just a pool.
You got a river back there.
Yes.
Oh, Sil.
So yeah. Fuck that up pretty good.
Well, you know how I am. And I think that's a part of my personality style. I was told that I look at the bright side of things, which I know somebody wants to slap the shit out of me sometimes. Like,
no, you need this though. You need it. You need it. You need it.
I need what? A slap?
No, you need someone to be like, well, think about it this way. So
yeah, because I'm gonna tell you, you learn some shit.
Oh, I fully learned. Like, go and watch the video that I posted today. I posted on both pages today because I was like, this is a whole ass lesson. And I was like, I'm about to be transparent and let y'all know that I learned. Don't you take your ass back in the house. Go rest, go sit down, go regroup, but finish whatever it is that you start.
Yeah, or check the weather.
Well, I knew the weather was coming, and that's why we were rushing so hard. And that's why, like, Sunday, I was like, I gotta go.
Right.
But yeah, I just got frustrated. I was just like, fuck all this. And it was like partially because I was like trying to do all the rest of the stuff by myself.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't have a choice. Drew got to go to work.
Right. Well, tell me this. What's the worst case scenario if is the water just gonna, it's gonna just absorb into the earth? I mean,
yeah. Like worst case scenario is that we have tadpoles again and like more mosquitoes and stuff like that.
Not now.
We have like a mosquito situation going already
Mercy.
Because of that much water that was already out there.
Oh, wow.
So, and like all of this really got started was because I was out there one day and I was watering the plants that aren't hooked up to the system. And I stepped like into like this pool basically of water. It was disgusting. And there were tadpoles in there. And I was like, fuck this, not doing this. So
nasty.
It was horrible, but you don't realize like how much water it is because you got the water on by a timer. You're not like out there. So it would like get wet and dry up and get wet and dry up. But it was like pooling under. So
they had to go somewhere.
Right. And so because it wasn't making it to the drain that was already there, it just was pooling in like two main places. So,
Mercy.
and the only way to connect it to that main drain was to dig these two.
These trenches.
One trench is 18 feet and the other trench is like 10 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So, and shout out to me for having this big ass garden that I didn't realize was this damn big.
Right.
But yeah, I
Well,
learned
tell me this: are those pools still there, or are they in another location?
they're in another location now. So now all the water is running towards the place where the drains meet.
Okay.
So where the new drain and the old drain meet, that's where it's like just a giant.
Is that a
It's
is that a little bit better?
it's. I mean, it's a little bit of progress, but it's just like me get my ass out there and finish.
You will. You
But
will. At
yeah,
least you're
I'm gonna
not
have
stepping in.
to.
At least you're not stepping into no mysterious holes of nasty
No,
ass water.
no, no. Like at least now it's like visible. Like this is where the water is. Don't
Right.
step there. So
Yes.
yeah, but the plants are still living, which is like grace
That's
of
what.
God.
Right.
So still growing random things, and I had started the fall garden.
Okay.
So that stuff is there. I got rid of the caterpillars. I don't know if I told you about like the caterpillar situation.
What?
Child,
Hell no! You tell me about those damn caterpillars.
Lori. See, this is also the problem about not being on TikTok is like I put all this shit on TikTok. Like
Oh my
that's my
god!
venting space, my journal space, my like help me Jesus space, fix it God. Um
Caterpillars. What in the world? Where they come from?
in the fall garden, remember I built the 8 foot bed. So in that bed, I put shit. Uh cauliflower and Brussels sprouts and broccoli. I mean, it was
Oh,
so much space that I could put like a whole
right,
crop of those.
right, right.
Okay, I did not know that. I knew every plant has its own kind of bugs. So you got
Mm-hmm.
squash, you get squash bugs.
Mm,
So I kept seeing all
mm.
these butterflies, and I'm like, oh, this is so beautiful. And so, girl,
Oh my gosh.
ma'am, they were laying eggs and leaving poop everywhere, and
Ew, ew.
just caterpillars were sprouting up, and they demolished 8 feet worth of cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and broccoli. Just ate the whole thing.
Mm, mm,
All
mm.
of it was gone. So learned, thank you, TikTok, learned how to get rid of them, got rid of them, and now
How?
that bed is regrowing.
How'd
It's
you
some
get
shit.
rid
I
of?
cannot pronounce the word. It's like diaticious earth. It's
Oh,
some white powder. It looks like crack
yeah.
or coconut.
Diet. Yeah. I
That
know exactly what you're talking about. I have some in my cabinet.
and okay,
And
so
you can take it. You can actually eat it.
supposedly, but I'm not about to do it. But
Good for you.
is it for real?
It is very good for you.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. So that and red pepper flake in water, like and make a
Mm-hmm.
spray.
Mm-hmm.
That apparently works. So I did like this whole combination of steps and like
Mm-hmm.
removing all the dead leaves and did all the things and got
Right.
some tape and got all the caterpillars off and all the eggs and it was gross.
Yeah.
Um,
Look at your dedication. See, I'm telling you, I am the silver lining queen. I think that's what you need to call me. I'm the silver lining queen.
I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna go with it.
Yeah. So what's been better with you?
I helped my mom start a garden.
Look at you.
That's what's been better.
Uh,
Watching my mom grow stuff at her house by herself,
look at
me on video
oh
chat, but like still watching her be like, nope, put that
yeah.
there. And her saying, are these weeds or are these? And I was like, no, 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 those are seedlings. You've done it.
Oh,
You've grown it.
tell me what difference that's making for you.
Lori, I was skipping like a little kid
Oh my
because I
goodness.
was just like, I know how much of a difference it made in my life to have a garden. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
hoping that this is something that like helps her.
Yes.
Even if it's just like you grew these few things that you wanted to eat, fine.
Mm-hmm.
And she can complain about it later and like complain about getting up early and watering and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
it's very cool.
I think that's awesome.
It's
I'm
very
going to be
cool.
getting your help at some point because I'm definitely growing a garden, and
Are
I'm
you
gonna.
really going to do it?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
I need to get some things in my life squared away, and
mm-hmm.
it's coming to fruition. So I'm excited about that.
Yay.
So yes, I'm definitely going to get your help because I'm not interested in seeing any caterpillar poop. Ugh.
I don't
I
let me
want
tell
to
you this.
avoid this stuff before it even happens.
There are ways to avoid these things, but some of these things just come with the territory, and you just
Yeah,
have to deal
no.
with it.
Okay.
You get used to it,
Okay.
but you have the yard for it, honey. So I am 100% here for you doing a garden. Like I will be there to help for sure.
Thank you.
So
Yay. Yay.
anyway, okay, that was a whole long drawn out thing, but what's been better for you, Lori?
Well, I don't know if I've ever shared with you, but I love teeth and I love
Yes.
smiling and I
Yes.
love to have a nice smile. And for the past few years, since like 2015, my smile has been fucked up
Okay.
from issues.
It didn't look
Um,
like it was fucked up, but okay.
uh, well, I do a lot of camouflaging. I even had to
Oh,
twist my face to fix my. It was wild. It's the
sounds
the
painful.
antics that I've had to go through to keep a smile. But I think it comes from years of eating candy and not necessarily flossing and going to the dentist like I needed to. But as you get older, you get wiser.
Mm-hmm.
So I have forgiven myself
Okay.
for the teeth that I've had to have extracted.
I'm so sorry, self. I'm gonna say
but
this for my gums.
right, right. But but I've always wanted to get implants. And
Okay.
so the cool thing is I will be getting 2 implants in December. And I went
Yay.
to the oral surgeon yesterday and I'm so excited. And I don't even have no damn shame because I'm sharing this shit. Like this is,
No, look, let me tell
and
everybody.
right, right. And I'm sharing it because this is life. People
Yeah,
have teeth extracted, people have rotten teeth, people don't floss and they,
people have fake
have
teeth.
and people yeah, right. It's so many things that, people have going on, but I think I'm really trying to put it out there to say we don't have to be ashamed of things. We
Right,
just own it and do something about it if we can. Even if um even if we have to remove the teeth and have partials or
yes,
false teeth or whatever it is, your smile is everything, you know. So,
yeah.
so public service announcement, y'all floss or
Go to
eat
the
apples.
dentist, do something.
Right.
Yes.
I found out that I mean, I like apples though, but I found out that eating apples and eating like celery and
Mm-hmm.
different things like that is a natural floss.
It's free floss. Yep.
So that's good. And eating things like candy and chips and burritos, like floury things, they get caught up in your teeth and they
Burritos.
cause the decay. So I just
Yes.
want y'all to know
And
that.
full transparency, minor implants. Actually, minor
Oh,
veneers.
oh,
So,
well, and so eventually I'm gonna get one. So that
okay.
was the thing that really messed up my smile because I had a crown, and so it
Oh,
overshadowed
okay.
one of my teeth, and so it just looked like I had a baby tooth just sticking. It was awful. It was just
I still have a baby tooth, but it has a dummy over it to make it look like it's
right,
even with
and
the other teeth.
you see what I'm saying? And so the dentist never said anything like that when that happened. He knew that he did that, and it's almost like he
Oh.
didn't give a damn. And I wanted to punch him in the fucking throat, but
Wait a minute. Does your dentist look like us? Are they close family or are they melanemic?
that part. And he looked
Oh,
like a drunk too. But
remember what I said, everybody, from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet.
so anyway.
So, yeah.
So but he just didn't seem like he cared and that just disturbed me.
Yeah.
But now I'm with dentists that care and so I'm very thankful for it.
Yay.
And so I'm not dogging people who are drunks. I mean, because I drink from time to time, but he just seemed like he was drinking on the job and that
Oh, no.
that
I hope
troubled
not.
me.
Yikes.
Well, it's neither here nor there. I don't go to him anymore.
Good.
So, but
Good, good, good.
that's what's been better.
Okay.
So
Well,
on
good.
on to the reckoning.
Ooh, having a reckoning.
Oh
Like,
my God.
I watch a lot of news and a lot of TV. And I have to ask this because you just said it. You said like you don't watch the news. And I talk to a lot of people who say the same thing.
Hmm.
Do you not watch any news?
No, ma'am.
None. Like no cable news, no regular news, no local news, no nothing.
No. I do
Wow.
listen to Karen Hunter, so shout out to Karen Hunter and all the Karen rebels. I
Hmm.
listen to her a lot, and I listen to other like talk shows, and they mention the news, and I talk to different people who speak about the news, and it's
Okay.
enough for me. Because
Really?
yes, it is because of the type of work that I do, Sylvia. I take
Okay.
on and listen to some of the most horrendous things that you might ever want to hear,
Yeah.
like um a a brother molesting his sister,
Hmm.
you know, and having to deal with that all the way up into their 30s now, you know.
Right.
So these are things, and so also I happened to see on Instagram yesterday, which I didn't, I wish I could take it back, but a man was arrested because he poured hot water down his child's throat, a 2-year old,
Oh my God.
and burned the baby's esophagus.
Oh.
Now, my son at almost 2 almost poured a hot tea. He almost tried to drink it. So that that trauma of that kind of came back. I'm very thankful that my son didn't drink it, but
Hmm.
he has scars. He has 3 and 4 degree burns, third and fourth
Oh
degree burns
wow.
on his arm and on his stomach, and imagine his esophagus. So
Right.
when I thought about this scalding hot water going down a baby's throat on purpose, I just had to pull it in. And so
Hmm.
for me, I'm an empath, right?
Yeah.
And so um and empaths, I mean, we take on everything. We suck
Hmm.
in everything. And so I don't have to do that. And
Yeah.
so I don't care to watch the news. I'm not missing anything by not listening to the news. And I know the people who need to hear it, they'll disseminate it as they need to.
Do you
So
ever worry about getting secondhand news and it being incorrect?
no, because
No?
and the reason why is because what I need to know, I will find out.
Oh,
I,
okay.
I will, everything I need to know, I will find out. I just will, and it's been that way.
Okay.
My mom, she lived with me for like maybe 6 months recently,
Mhm.
and the news was on all the time. So I feel like I got the news that I hadn't received in years. Like
Oh,
I
okay.
accumulated, like that's
Okay.
what I'm saying. It's like when I need to hear it, like I know Warnock and Herschel are gonna speak tonight. How do I know that?
Tomorrow. Yes, but yes,
Well, yeah, but you
because I
you see what I'm saying?
probably talk about it enough. So I
Well,
guess
not
you do
just
get
you.
enough news from like enough people, then you would get bits and pieces of important information.
Just like what we're going to talk about this evening. It's like I hear enough to know, or like I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook,
Mhm.
things are going to slide by. And when I go to check my email, Yahoo has news. Like
Mhm.
it's just different little segments and they'll pop up on you. So
Right.
I'll see certain things like I know uh Angela Lansbury just died, you
Mhm.
know. Um, it could be trivia, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's still
Yeah.
kind of important, And so I again, I'll know what I need to know. Like I know when to vote. I know when I know when
Okay,
to
so
do the very things. I'm tapped in enough.
you're still informed.
Right. The
Okay.
things I'm not informed on the like nightly news and the local news. I definitely don't want to know the local news because
Really?
it's traumatizing. And especially for us, um, brown and black individuals who are in the news negatively. I don't need to have that rehearsed,
Mm.
and to hear things that um negatively affect me, or it's not something that I feel like it's gonna bring a good light to us,
Okay.
you know. So,
So after spending a year working as the news,
mhm,
um, I got basically a journalism 101 crash course.
mhm,
So me watching and reading the news is very different now.
mhm.
Um, because I understand what sources to pull from.
Okay. How do you
So
pull?
yeah,
Or what sources?
I understand. Well, let me say this. I
Mm,
understand what you mean when you say you don't watch the local news because of
mhm. Oh
basically how
yeah.
it's distributed. And yes, hearing it is like everything is falling to pieces. Everything black and brown is bad. Everything is, one sided. So, yes, I understand not wanting to watch the local news. Um, I pull a lot from NPR. I pull a lot from like Politico, very like middle of the road. Just give me the facts. I don't necessarily want talking heads and opinions of like, we're going to bring in this expert and this person's opinion or anything like that. Like, no,
Okay.
none of that.
That's that's awesome. And when you hear NPR and things like that, what do you hear? Do they speak about just politics, or
No,
what
no,
do they speak
no.
about? Okay.
NPR, especially if you get the NPR One app, it's some of everything because there are podcasts there. You get
Mhm.
the local news, like the
Mhm.
local NPR stations. So I'm still
Mhm.
getting like you said, I know when to vote. I know who's running. I know what's going on. I know,
Mhm.
this road is different, this change, everything's going on 285. So I'm still getting those bits and pieces,
Mhm.
but I'm also getting like a national perspective, an
Okay.
international perspective. Um, BBC World, I'll get like, what's happening in Europe, what's happening in Africa, what's happening in South America, those things as
I
well.
think that's so you know what? And I
So,
love it. Now, not to say that is like I don't frown upon it, like to say the people who listen to it, because I think there is something to be gained. I
yeah,
just know my sensitive ears picks up the sensitivity of it.
right.
You see what I'm
And
saying?
I have the
And
same empath feeling. So I understand what you mean by like you watch it and it affects you. And I
right.
think the only reason why I can continue to watch it is because I know what the keywords are now.
I think
I
that's
can
awesome.
filter very quickly now.
Right. And I
Um,
love that,
mhm.
and I wish, well, I ain't gonna say I wish I could do that. I don't care to do
But if
that.
you
But
don't want to, yeah.
right, right. But what happens is when I listen to the news and things like that, sometimes like when I tell you about the baby, I think violent thoughts sometimes. Like I
Okay.
want to harm that man
Mm-hmm.
who did that to that baby.
Yeah.
But I realized that he's harmed himself. That's why he did that. You know. Or I feel hopeless sometimes. I'm like, "Oh my god, the world is so fucked up and I
Yeah.
can't do anything about it." So then I feel like, "Man, why can't I do enough?" And then I start trying to do more. And then
Okay.
I like almost like on a hamster wheel trying to do the most to try to like how can I be more of who I am, when
Mm-hmm.
I realized that I can only do what I can and I'm doing the best I can,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So what I've learned to do is to filter for myself and pull back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
hope that everybody knows their own filter, like what is best for them, what works
Yeah.
for them. Everybody is different, but you have to know yourself. Find out who you are and what works for you. And please, like for instance, to hear you say what you're saying, I'm not offended because, oh, I don't watch the news and you do. I hear you and I'm able to, like, okay, Sylvia, you do that and I do that.
You know what though? You've cleared up a lot of things for me because I thought you were just like in a dark room in a dark corner and had no clue about it. You are still quite informed.
Mm-hmm.
It is the people who go, I don't watch the news, I don't read the paper, I don't have any kind of social media, I never open Google, I never try to even know what is literally affecting us
Have
that
you at
can be changed.
right?
You know what I'm saying? So it's in conversations that I've had with people in the past who are just like, they are in a dark room in a dark corner with their head like completely understand because they don't want to know anything.
What do you ask them when you hear that? What do you ask them about? Like,
The first question is typically why, and then the second question is like, are you okay with not knowing?
okay, and
Because
what do you hear?
people literally don't care,
Okay,
which
okay.
is again like a bit terrifying to me because they still vote. And I'm like, what,
Mm,
how, what are you voting for? Because you can't be voting your interests, could you?
right, right,
If you
right.
don't, if you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
see, that's the whole bit to me is like knowing that we need to vote our actual interests. So it would behoove you to know that, like, just because you know who Herschel Walker is and you don't know who Raphael Warnock is, doesn't mean that Herschel Walker is better for you as a
Right,
person, as a Georgian, as a American
right,
citizen, as a person with a green card. Just because you saw him play football in '87 doesn't make him good for business, good for
mm-hmm.
rules, good for abortion, good for healthcare, good for any of those things. So it's like, if you don't watch the news, do you know what's happening with him? Do you know like the
Yeah,
contradictory behavior?
I hear you. But
Because it's
guess what?
like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
it's Herschel Walker. I know him.
Right,
He's handing
right.
out gas cards. It's like, you
He
do
did what? He
know.
handed out gas cards.
Right. It's like, you do know his beliefs, right? No, I
Right,
don't. Oh
right.
my God. Why are you going to check this box for him?
But I will tell you, and this might be true, might not be true, but I think even if they were informed, they would still vote for him. That's
Oh
what I'm
yeah.
trying to say.
But this is why I go back to the statement of voting your actual interests,
Right.
not
Well,
your comfort, not your feelings, but your actual like, how is this going to affect you when Atlanta Medical closes because the politician didn't want to fight for it or thought it was better or took money from whoever. Like
hmm,
how is, you get what I'm saying?
I
So it's
totally
like
do.
you still, just because you like a person doesn't mean that they're better for you.
Right. I
So,
totally get it. I totally get it.
but
And I'm learning with even those people who don't and who basically are hiding up under their own shell,
mhm,
they still have a choice to do
yeah,
whatever they do. And I still think the world is going to be how the world is. That's my opinion.
yeah.
It's gonna happen just the way it happens.
But hopeless romantic me, hopeful me knows that a better world is possible.
Oh, I believe that. Yeah,
So
I
I
do
don't
too.
want to accept that necessarily, that everything is going to be how it's going to be when I know that there's like an inkling, a possibility that if we woke up enough people
Mm-hmm.
in a row, that things
Mm-hmm.
would be better. But I get what you're saying. I get what you're
That
saying.
and that's what I'm saying. That what you just said.
Yeah.
Like the woke people, they're gonna
Hmm.
be awake enough to overshadow the sleep people. Like I think
Fingers crossed.
there's gonna be a like you say a hopeless romantic or like I'm in
Hmm.
that space too.
Okay.
I believe what will be from like it's gonna be really good
Oh, okay.
or it's not. And I'm
Okay.
hoping for the best no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but
It's
but
just
yeah.
it's a lot of crazy. Like hearing all of the stories with him in the last couple of days. I mean, there's a thing in journalism and a thing in politics called the October surprise. If
Oh.
there's a November election, some shit's gonna go down in October.
Oh
So like
wow.
Hillary's emails was
Yeah.
right at the end of October.
Wow.
Yeah,
That
like
messed things up. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
happens in
Mm-hmm.
October. It's always
Mm-hmm.
in October, you know. So
And see, I
I
heard
was
about
like
that.
waiting. See, I mean, I don't know how anybody couldn't hear about that because
Right, right.
he's been literally going around the state screaming, no one
Mm-hmm.
should have an abortion. Absolutely nobody should have an abortion. And here you are paying for abortions, writing
Yeah.
checks and giving get well soon cards for
Mm.
abortions. So it was just
So
kind
he's
of
paid
like,
for more than one abortion?
I wouldn't put it past him. We know about the one. Do you think he hasn't done multiple? If he has what's the head count on the number of kids? 5?
Oh, I see what you're saying. So,
There's gotta be.
yeah, I see
We
what you're saying.
if you're dumb enough to write a
Mm.
check and send a get well soon card, you've got to have, come on. Come on now. So I just I it was a surprise, but it wasn't enough of a surprise, I don't think, because like you said, people can be informed and they will still go tick the wrong box.
Yeah, they will. And a lot of this comes from how people were reared. Like when I
Oh
think
yeah.
about Herschel Walker, like I
Mhm.
remember because I grew up in Georgia and I loved him, because the brother could play his butt off. He
Okay.
was excellent at playing football. But you didn't know how he was raised. So nobody paid attention to that. And
Right.
so now as you look at him as a grown man and he has children who he's not raised and who speak out against him,
Mhm.
he's perpetuating some things that he has himself learned. And so
Right.
when we think about mental health and you think about like what is it, CTEs,
Yes.
that really alters your brain in a way that people will never understand.
But at what point, see, here's where like my reckoning starts. It's like, okay, there are a lot of people walking around with a lot of mental illness.
Hmm.
I got it. But at what point is it mental illness? And at what point is it just self-hate?
I think self hatred is mental illness.
Ooh, really?
Absolutely. How can it not be? If you hate yourself, is that not mental illness? Are you serious?
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Because
I'm hear you.
you live in your body and you hate it, you go
Yeah,
against
well,
yourself. Yeah.
yeah.
And I would say most mental illnesses start with self-hatred
Okay. Okay. It's
because it spins out like low self-esteem, that's a form of self-hatred,
mhm.
right? Um being cruel to others, like putting people down and being just hateful to others,
Yeah.
that's a form of self-hatred. Bleaching your skin is a form of self-hatred.
Yes.
Racism is a
Yeah.
form of self-hatred. You can't be cruel to you. Tripping somebody up is a form of
Mhm.
self-hatred. You can't trip somebody without feeling that within yourself first. Everything you do starts with you. Everything.
Okay. Okay. It's it's it is extremely wild though that it like gets to a point where people start making excuses for it though. That's the
Yeah.
part that I'm like, how the fuck are you? Why would you stand up for this person? You see, like, they don't give a fuck about you or themselves.
Hmm.
Why are you
So
standing up for them?
right. So it's so many reasons why people do that, right?
Yeah.
You got the sympathizers, you have codependency, um, you have people pleasing,
Mm-hmm.
you have guilt,
Yeah.
right? And so guilt says, I don't I I got some of that issue right there in my house. Like,
Yeah.
well, if I have to call him out, then I have to call my shit out. Well, I don't want to
Right.
call my shit out. So he all right, you
It's
know?
just bad. It's so bad. And then it's like you got Herschel Walker saying wild shit last week. Then you got Kanye putting on White Lives Matter shirts. And it's just,
And wasn't that the other girl?
with Candace Owen.
Yeah, she did it too.
Oh
So
God.
so then you have attention seeking behavior because all of
Yeah.
that's attention seeking. Like you want a rise out of people. And so if you're not gonna get good attention, any attention will do.
Right. And we've learned that with like Donald Trump and all his people.
Right.
Good. No
Right.
press is bad press. But it's just my question is like at what point do we stop putting a microphone in front of these people? Because it's doing a lot of harm. It's doing a lot of harm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and so I think to the point where we stop talking about them. I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
We have to, like we're doing now, we actually are feeding into the thing, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I hope our audience understands what our point is for speaking on it. But But the thing is ultimately not to speak on it. We just
Yeah.
ignore.
Yeah.
Um, because when you ignore the behavior or you put a cap on, like it's like a fire that's in a,
Mhm.
a pot. If you put, if you take the oxygen out of the room,
Yes.
if you take the oxygen out, it ceases to exist.
I used to do that with kids in the classroom that were, like, disruptive, be like, "Everybody ignore them," and they would just shrivel up.
Hmm.
If you can't hold court as the court gesture, like, what are you gonna do?
Right.
If
Right.
no one's paying attention to you, no one's laughing with you, no one's laughing at you, no one's throwing money at you, you'll
Right.
just stop. But I don't know if there's enough people, again, to, like, stop putting microphones in front of these people because it's all for clicks.
Yeah.
It's all for
It
eyes,
it
it's all for
it
ratings.
will. I think it will because it's gonna come to an end at some point. Like when you think about like Whitney and Bobby,
Yeah,
right? They used to be all over the news so much. Now, without a
mm,
Whitney, there's no Bobby.
right.
Bobby is quiet as a damn church mouse. You don't hear
Mhm.
nothing from him. In fact, he's trying to lose weight somewhere.
Leave
He's trying
Bobby
to
alone.
turn over a new leaf, and so
Right.
but that is the thing. And so like let Kanye's children grow up a little bit and they start dissing him or dismissing him or leaving him, he will shrivel up too, or
Right.
he will start to quiet down too, or
Yeah.
try to get some help too. And it might be another thing. Candace Owens, she'll be old news real soon. It's just
Please.
they're gonna have their season and everything has a season and it'll come to an end.
But then, I mean, you have people, and I know, like you said, you don't watch everything, but, like, I watch a lot of court.
Hmm.
So I've been watching everything that's going on with Alex Jones and Sandy Hook,
Right.
and to see that it took 10 years and it still has not stopped this man, 10 years and now a settlement for nearly $1 billion,
Hmm.
to tell this man to, like, everything you keep saying, all the wild shit that you keep saying is bad and it needs to stop. And for
Hmm.
him to be so emboldened yesterday and be like, why didn't they go for $1 trillion? I'm never going to stop is
Well, he'll stop when he dies,
great.
and I
Yeah,
hate to say it like that. And it's like to, but,
but
the
how long is
people,
that going to be? You know what I'm saying? Like, how
I
many
know.
more school shootings have to happen and him
Hmm.
continue this?
Right. And
Like, I cannot imagine the families of Uvalde in Texas. Like, I can't.
right. I think also people have to turn around and put the spotlight back on him. Right. It's like
Mm,
we're gonna stop running. We're gonna stand and turn the water hose on your black ass or your white ass or your purple ass or
right.
we're gonna do that, you know. And that's the thing. If we do that, things will start to change. We have to stop running, right? Because we're
Yeah.
not victims. We are victorious. And we have to stand in our victory. We have to stand in our strength and who we are. We have to stand up. And if we can stand up, oh my God,
Yeah.
that he's a bully.
Right.
And if we stop allowing the bully to bully us, punch his ass in the throat. Like, not really,
Okay,
I'm
wait a
saying
minute.
that, but
Wait a minute. Because I remember you told me some time ago, I don't know what episode it was like, at that point though, you're getting down to their level.
yes, you are. And then you ask yourself to forgive yourself. I'm
Do it and then
and I
ask for forgiveness.
yeah,
Okay.
ask for forgiveness.
Look at you turn
No,
it over a different leaf.
no, no, seriously though. But again, we're at our best at different points in time, right?
Yeah.
And so again, when these different things happen, you have to ask yourself, what am I going to do? And I'm not necessarily saying use violence. I'm being silly here,
No,
but
no, no. I
tongue in
understood.
cheek. But
Yeah.
what I'm really trying to say though is this: let's stop being a victim because it doesn't suit us to be a victim. We
Yeah.
don't we don't have to allow these things to infiltrate us the way they have, And I understand. I know saying don't take it personally. It's like, oh, well, it's easier said than done. But it's easy to say that and not do it. So we
Yeah.
have to practice it. We have to take the wind out of the sail.
Yeah.
We have to take the sting out of the punch.
I
We have to take it.
I think it's a little bit, I'm not gonna say easier. I gotta use a different word. I think there is a path towards that now
Mhm.
because those families have had 10 years of being harassed, 10
Mhm.
years of being questioned, 10 years of, like, just all the bombardment from him. So
Mhm.
I think they can help the next family. Because 'cause let's be
Right.
for real, these school shootings are never gonna stop.
No, they're
Um,
not. No, because they're
it's
evil. As long as there's evil in the world, Sylvia,
right.
they're gonna keep doing it. But I think it's about coaching each other. That's why we're
Yeah.
having these kind of conversations. Like, let's coach each other on the things to say, and how to prepare ourselves for like when we do go out the house and somebody's like in your face with this.
Mhm.
I just talked to a client today about how he was getting berated by his child's mother. I
Mhm.
said, you can't stop seeing your child because that child mother is a bully. You have to walk in there with a hazmat on and really not get infiltrated with the cruelty that's being said.
Yeah.
You really have to wear tough sleeves sometimes. You don't have to. I was, like I said, tongue in cheek about punching somebody in the throat. No, not necessarily. But what I'm saying is, learning to not allow certain things to penetrate you. Take it with a grain of salt. Consider the source.
Yeah.
These people are coming from a place of hurt.
Mhm.
Alex Jones has no soul.
None.
If he doesn't
None.
have a soul, why are we? He don't know you.
Yeah.
He don't
I
know those people.
I will say it was s watching the details of the case and the things that people were doing and saying to these people, finding their addresses, finding their homes, editing these videos, putting their faces on flyers. These people never had time to grieve.
I get it.
So it's like you can't even grieve and block him at the same time. So I understand that it's way easier said than done of like
Mm-hmm.
just ignore him or just take the oxygen out of the room or put up a better guard. Cause I'm like, how do
It's
you even breathe again knowing
yeah.
that your elementary school child has been murdered that way?
I get it. It's even
So,
taking the wind out of that sail because
mm,
we start to think a life is supposed to be a life, of this child is supposed to grow up to be this age. You don't know. This
right.
person is supposed to die before, I'm supposed to die before. You don't know. We don't get to dictate life.
Yeah.
And when we start to, we get let down. So if a child is killed in a horrific death, oh, he wasn't supposed to be killed like that. How did you know that? We
Mm,
don't know how we're going to die. It's
yeah.
not our business to know that. Our business is to live the best life we can while we're here. We get caught up in too much of the hows and then the whys. We don't know why.
Does it not also still seem like in the same breath that it's still senseless?
Yes, it is. It is
Okay.
senseless.
Yeah.
Not to say don't do anything about these things. These things still, the persecutor still needs to be persecuted.
Right.
Like let's call a thing, but I'm saying sitting with it so it sucks the life out of us.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't believe this happened. I never it's gonna be, I ain't gonna never give yourself time to heal and at the same time understand that we don't get to dictate life.
Right.
And if
Right.
we could start to really start being thankful, I know that might sound like, oh, be thankful. Yes, learn to be thankful for the life that you did have, the time that you did have with your family,
Yeah.
instead of feeling like you should have had more time. We don't deserve like to say, like, this expectation, like, I'm supposed to have X, Y, and Z. What you do have, are you thankful for it? Are you
Right.
thankful for what you have? Are you
Yeah.
blessed? Because we're always, if we looking for the blessings in life, because we're going to always have bad things to happen all the
Mhm.
time, every day.
Yeah.
What are
And
your thoughts about that?
I'm still processing it because I'm looking at like from the from being in schools and seeing how kids are and knowing that like that's all possible, from being stalked by a child, from being like violently berated by a child, knowing that these things are like totally 100% possible, but also hearing you say that like, yeah, we are not owed any time. You don't know how much time. Everything is like time is ticking. Yes, and to be grateful in the moment of that you have some moments, but also like it's all so senseless.
It is. I'm not going to take that away. It
So
is.
it's
It makes
very
no
difficult.
sense.
It
Mhm.
doesn't make any sense of how those children's lives were taken, how those
Mhm.
teachers' lives were taken.
Mhm.
I cannot imagine being a teacher and seeing
Mhm.
all that.
Mhm.
I can't. I
Right.
like there's nothing in me that's like this should happen to a kid at school.
Exactly. And
It's
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And do you know when I say I think we had this conversation before. I let the prosecutors prosecute,
Yeah.
right? In those moments, instead of me losing my shit,
Mhm.
those prosecutors, people who do their job very well, they take the emotion out of it
Yeah.
because if they didn't, they would lose their shit and they wouldn't be able to do their job. So it's
Yeah,
like,
which the so in watching, I didn't mean to cut you off, but in
no, go
watching
ahead.
the Sandy Hook case, I'm also watching the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas case because
Okay.
these were all going at the same time. So many cases happening right now. Um, the uh the Christmas parade case is happening right now. There's so many different cases.
Oh,
But I was
wow. I remember
watching,
that.
yeah, so I was watching the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas case ended today too.
Hmm.
And seeing all of that and seeing that like, okay, you're already guilty and now we have to do a penalty trial.
Now, um, some of our viewers might not know who this person is.
So Nicholas Cruz was a former student of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, and he blatantly declared that he would be a school shooter on multiple social media platforms, made videos about it, talked to different people, and
When did he
had
do that?
had the FBI called on him. And on Valentine's Day
Okay.
of 2018, he
Hmm.
went to the school at the last period of the day and went to the freshman building, all three floors, and murdered students and teachers
In 18?
in 2018.
Wow.
So
I don't know
that
if I
case
remember that.
has taken 4 years to get here.
Mm.
And watching the YouTube videos, watching the evidence of it, and hearing this person still say that they deserve life in prison and not the death penalty. And now I am not a huge like prison person. I'm like real sketched out about sending people to prison. So I'm very sketched out about saying like people deserve the death penalty. But when you are asking for mercy,
You think somebody gonna say, I think I deserve the death penalty? You think somebody gonna say that shit?
if you've already declared that you wanted to die and you didn't want to be here in the first place,
Hmm. When did they say that?
they've said it like throughout the trial. Like there were different points in which this has been stated by this person. So it's like how the jury today came back with 17 cases of saying he should get life was so fucking wild to me
Mm. Hmm.
because the evidence didn't point to that. And I'm not going to tell you to go watch any of it because I know you won't watch it, but
No, not at
just
all.
just hearing the details of
Hmm.
how what he did.
Right.
I
Well,
don't understand how there was mercy.
like my nephew says, he had the complexion for the protection
Yes, in a way,
and
yes.
the connections because of the complexion.
In a way, I could believe it. But it's again, it's totally senseless,
Hmm.
totally unimaginable,
I can
and
imagine.
I don't understand why the people who make the laws, why the people who make the rules, why the people who vote for the people who make the rules have not figured out that like we need to take this one piece out of the game.
Child.
I know, I know, I know. But
I think on that note, we need to go ahead and wrap this thing on up because
yeah,
you know how that ends.
I know.
We'll be like a recursiveness thing taking
Yeah,
place here. Like it'll just be, a never ending cyclical
yeah,
conversation about things that we can't change.
no. But I do think to wrap this up, it's a lot of wild shit going on.
Hmm.
And I feel like if you are listening to the sounds of our voices, something in you doesn't want these things to keep happening. Something
Right.
in you wants better, and that's why you're listening to us. And first of all, let me say I appreciate you for listening to us. And second of all, better is possible.
Yeah. And me too. I appreciate the viewers, the listeners, because you you could be doing something else with your time. And so I really appreciate that. But I will tell you the way we can make this world a better place is if we individually become better. We have to become better versions of ourselves. That is the only way this world can be a better place. Collectively, individually, if we are better versions of ourselves, we just have to practice. It is
Yeah.
just that simple.
Hopefully we figure it out.
I believe we will.
All right. Well, that was an interesting episode. We're going to call it a day. Thanks for listening.
All right. Bye bye. That's it for this week's show. I'm Lori Scott.
And I'm Sylvia Johnson. And you've been listening to What's Been Better.
A big thank you to Lagon Music Inc. for providing our music. This show is edited and produced by us with a little help from our family and friends. We love you all.
We want to hear what's been better for you. To be a guest on the show, send us an email to questions@whatsbeenbetter.com. Or you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at What's Been Better Podcast.
Thanks for listening.